Just asking like, am I over being dramatic about this, or like wrinkled over here but not wrinkled over here? Yeah, I mean,
we did find a little humor, or sadness.
Yeah.
There. So I was crying or whatever, but then I was just like, you know what, I just want to laugh.
Yeah. Welcome back, everyone.
For a time like this podcast.
I'm Natalie.
And I'm Ashley. And we're your host.
So Ashley, I know it's been a little bit.
Is it like 3-4 weeks?
Probably 4.
It's been longer since we recorded.
Yeah.
Since we last had one posted. So it's been a long time.
3 or 4 weeks, I'd say. I think.
Yeah, it feels like a long time.
Y'all know that we did Ashley did a little post about, pray for me with things going on, health situations, and whatnot, but we're just going to jump in and
we're just going to give a little life update about where we've been the past few weeks.
Yeah.
So, today we want to do like a little bit disclaimer.
Yes.
That this episode, there's nothing bad in the episode, but we talk about some topics that you may not want to discuss with like a 5-year-old, 6-year-old,
yeah.
and
or
you
may not understand what that means, and they might come to you for questions about it. So we just kind of
you might be completely fine with it. It's up to you, but we do want to go ahead and say there might be parts of this that you don't want to listen to with a small child because you may not want to answer questions about it later.
Yeah,
but we want to go ahead and put that in there before we jump into this episode.
Yep. So for me, it was the weekend of Father's Day, and which that Friday before Father's Day, we had family pictures, and I noticed like going to the family pictures when we were supposed to have them, I noticed my face getting tingly, and so we ended up going, and by the time it was over, I told my husband, I said, my face feels funny. I said, my face feels like what the dentist would give you, like a shot to numb you. And I said, but it's tingly right now. So like I was explaining it to him. He was like, okay, it's fine. If it gets worse, we'll, figure something out or whatever. And we prayed about it because I was really feeling concerned about it. I woke up Saturday and my whole face was like droopy. And my husband looked at me. I said, honey, do I look funny? I was like, I feel like I look funny in the mirror. I was like, is it just me? Or, I'm not sure what's going on. He said, no. He said, your face kind of looks odd. And we went to the ER.
At that same time, you was feeling, your whole body was feeling weird.
Yes, like
it
my
wasn't just
whole
your
body.
face.
Yeah, like it wasn't just like my face, but my whole half of my left side was feeling pretty funny. Like it was just, I don't know how to explain it. Just tired and numb, kind of like, and just exhausted in one side. And called a nurse friend and kind of really just asked him like, am I over being dramatic about this, or do I get it checked out? And she was like, well, if it's your whole left side, yes, you do. And she told me what she thought it was, but we went to the ER, got checked out, and automatically they said, you have Bell's palsy. And but they were concerned about my whole left side being like a little bit numb and not feeling a whole lot, because that is not normal for Bell's palsy. And so anyway, they ended up just doing tests and MRIs and stuff to make sure I wasn't having like strokes or anything. But thankfully I did not. It was just the Bell's palsy. I don't know if anybody has had like a similar.
I kind of like explain that to people, because like before you did it, I don't know if I've ever heard of it. So like tell them what happened after that.
So like to your
body.
So Bell's palsy is where like either a nerve or something gets pinched, or just something kind of attacks your face or whatever. And for me, I think I had pinched my face or something, and it just started to go numb. Like it just went numb. Like I wasn't able to blink or nothing. But like Bell's palsy is usually, it's either one side of your face that goes numb and it's like really droopy.
And it looks paralyzed.
And it looks paralyzed. Yes.
Yeah, that's what it looks
like. That's a good word for it. And really you can't like blink your eye. You can't really do a whole lot. Your mouth, you can't really move your mouth, and like
and like it's half your tongue too, so your speech was a little bit affected as well.
Yeah, my speech was affected. Because it was half, like everything that's like half. I mean, it was just everything, just half that I was just like numb and everything. So it was hard to swallow too. and it was hard to eat there for a little bit because it was so hard to eat and not feel where it was going.
Did it affect your hearing any?
My what?
Hearing?
Yes. So like right now,
I was just kind of curious.
Yeah.
Get that.
Right now, like my left side is still a little, it feels clogged, but I know it's not clogged, but it feels like it. But right now, I think I'm on the 4th week, which they told me it would take like about 6 weeks up to, I think they said 3 months sometimes. And sometimes they said it's permanent.
That's what I don't think a lot of people understood you when you told them that.
Yeah.
Because everybody was all like, oh, I know somebody, and it was like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And everybody kept giving you that, but in your mind, you know what the doctor said.
Yeah,
this could be forever.
permanent. Yeah. And
I when you first told me that, I'm like,
yeah.
Because I already knew, a lot of people's gone through it, and it's turned out fine, but.
Yeah. And like for me, it could have been the case where it stayed permanent, like I was very concerned about that when she said that, when the doctor was like, some of them it stays permanent, but she said the upside to it was your face will never age. I'm like, I don't really want that. I said, I want my face to move.
Well, does the other side not age either? Because that'd be the only benefit there.
Well, she did. She said my face would, one of my sides of my face will not age because it's not moving.
That would be even worse.
So, yeah, I know.
Looking back, okay, this is what I look like now. Not what I used to look like.
Yeah, like wrinkled over here, but not wrinkled over here. Yeah, I mean, it was weird. It was funny, though, at the time. But my husband was like, you could just get a Botox on the other side. I was like, oh, yeah. Then I'll just look serious all the time. It was funny. But
looking back now, you can be like, oh, but at that time.
At that time, I was just like, oh, my goodness, what's going to happen to me? You get so worked up in that situation, and your mind starts wondering, too. So, but, yeah, I was diagnosed with Bell's palsy, and it's still kind of happening, but I'm able to speak without a lisp.
It kind of sounded like
that's what my husband said. It sounded like it was like a lisp, and I'm able to move my mouth. I'm not able to laugh like how I used to laugh, but I am able to give a little grin.
Yeah, it's not her whole face doesn't light up at the moment.
Yeah.
It's just but it'll come back. It's slowly improved.
Yeah, it's slow. It's very slowly being improved, which I'm thankful because that means I don't have a permanent that's not permanent. So, you guys will also know when you see the video of a day in the life on my video or here on For a Time Like This podcast, you will kind of notice my face. Sometimes my eye won't blink all the way with my other eye, and that's why, and you'll know that I'm trying to smile, but it's only half of my face or whatever, and that's why. So I wanted to explain that to y'all after seeing that, because I'm I bet people have questions or something. But yes, that's why I can't move some of my face. So that's what's been going on for me, just health issues. That you kind of went through something, and
so this happened to Natalie on
around Father's Day.
Yeah, so that Saturday. Mm-hmm. So that following Wednesday was crazy because it happened the same week, and we both
we were just
she already told me, she's like, hey, I need some time off. Mm-hmm. I don't know how long, whatever. Mm-hmm. So that Saturday that happened with Natalie, and then that Wednesday, Nathaniel and I suffered a miscarriage at 10.5 weeks.
Aww.
So we wasn't. I have 2 other children, and they were perfectly great pregnancy, and this one was the exact same way.
Yeah.
But it just happened, and we was kind of suspicious. Maybe that week prior, things were happening. We was kind of maybe. Yeah. But then that Wednesday we did. So I went to the hospital, and the doctor was like, "This is the best case scenario for these things to happen." Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Everything's good. I was only there for maybe an hour, and they sent me home. Okay. So it wasn't that. Yeah. It wasn't bad in that aspect. Right. And then when I went back to my doctor's appointment for the follow up the next week, she was like, "It just happens. 1 out of 4 women it happens to, or pregnancies it happens." Yeah. And that it was nothing I'd done. It was nothing that affected it. It was just what happened with the baby. Something didn't link up right or something, and so the baby couldn't develop any longer. Okay. But that doctor there at the time, she was like, if you knew everything that went into having a baby, that it's amazing that we even have that many. Just like all the variables that have to line up. But they was like, that is so common. But, you know, for us, we've been trying for like 6 months. We finally was excited. And then like 10.5 weeks in. Usually everyone announces at 12 weeks. So we were like trying to plan our announcement. Yeah. We were trying to get his family in so that we could announce it at church and they not know. It'd be a big surprise. So that was like, so that's what we was all thinking about up until that point. Yeah. And thankfully, that sounds weird, but thankfully we hadn't told nobody at that point. Yeah. It was just him and I knew. Yeah. But I don't know about you all, but like if something happens, I feel like once you tell everybody, then you got to go back and retell everybody. Like, you know, so, I mean, we told people what happened afterwards, but it was just kind of like at our own time.
Yeah.
Kind of
I think that's best, especially to wait, which I know some of them, I think either your OBGYN or somebody usually tells you, you know, just wait before you tell family, like extended family, just, you know, just because, you know, so-and-so, which my OBGYN did tell me this. She was like, you know, your pregnancy looks healthy and whatnot, but like just wait until further along to just kind of.
Yeah, because I had an ultrasound at 7 weeks and everything looked perfectly fine. Yeah. Like 3 weeks before, they was like, oh, no, everything's healthy, everything's great. And like I think too about announcing it really early, like everybody can do what they want. But people tend to tell the good news real fast. So, like, if everybody was like, oh, yeah, and then not everybody goes back and tell that bad news, that people are coming up to you and asking you, and then you're like, it's like kind of an awkward situation. The thing that's really been, like, I don't know, to me, because, like, people still, because, you know, people are always asking you, you're going to have a third one? You're going to have a third one? So, like, that next week, someone's like, so you ready for your third one? And I'm like, well, I was, you know, kind of like... Kind of asking people that I mean, you do it all the time. There's nothing to it, but like in that moment, you kind of
in that moment, you're like, well, you know, I know, you know, with Ashley, that's so sad and whatnot. I feel for her. I know a family that's been through it, but in a funny kind of silly, you know, story, my daughter, we were cleaning.
It was the night before.
It was like the night before.
You texted me the night before.
So I was cleaning up their little like playroom kind of like, and my daughter just automatically says, we were going through baby clothes and all that stuff to get rid of and to donate and just kind of things like that. My daughter like just tells me out of the blue and says, hey mommy, I know Ashley's pregnant. And I was like, Ashley who? I was
because like, we have a woman in our church that was pregnant in our church named Ashley.
So I said, okay. I was like, Ashley Avery, yeah, she's having a baby, you know, she's already round and stuff, so you could tell she was pregnant. So I thought she was just talking about her, and she said no. She said, you know, Ashley that comes over to my house and, you know, Truett's mommy and Oakley's mommy. I was like, oh, really? And she was like, yeah, I know she has a baby. And I was like, you do you? She was just determined, like, yes, I know she's having a baby or something. And so, like, that night I texted her and I was like, you know, hey, my daughter said that you were pregnant or something, you know?
Yeah, I was almost tempted to tell you I was, but then we kind of had the suspicion that things might not be going good. So I was like, I want to tell her that, and then they won't work out. And so, like, the next day I was like, well, Camilla was correct.
She prophesied, but then, you know.
She was right. So we did find a little humor in our sadness
there. So, but anyway, that was funny. But my daughter is sometimes very, she focuses on people sometimes, and she kind of like, I don't know, it's weird. She kind of knows stuff that nobody's told her before.
I guess she like observes so well. She kind of maybe notices things that are like,
which is kind of, I don't know, like if I should be afraid. But anyway, all right.
So during that time, like the initial, because like looking back now, we can think differently and feel differently. But do you remember what you were thinking initially? Like, were you questioning stuff, or how was you feeling? Like,
so Saturday after we left, which this was super late. We didn't get out of the ER till about, I don't know, 6. We went in probably about 10 o'clock that day. So like we've been there for a while. And after we left, we ate and we kind of talked about it a little bit. And when I got in the car, and I hate to like be like this, but when we got in the car, I kind of just sat there just in my thoughts for a minute. And my sister-in-law calls, and she was being, she kind of was joking. My husband was joking. They were trying to cheer me up and stuff. But I could not even look at her, and I like bawled out because I was like, Travis, I can't. I was like, I kind of shook my head at him. I was like, I don't really want to talk. And I started bawling, and like in my mind, which then when it was happening to me, and all I was thinking like this was going to be permanent, I was like, I was like, Travis, I'm a good person. I was like, I don't know why, like I did question like, why is this got to be for me? Like, why is this happening to me? But I quickly shut that question down, and I was like, you know what? Which my husband was like, honey, we all go through things. And I was like, yeah, and then I just kind of like, all right, but I was still crying. I was just like crying about it and just kind of, just, I don't know, was being sad, emotional in my thoughts and whatnot. But then, in my mind, Sunday, I was like, God, show me what you want to teach me out of this. Like, help me understand this. And if this is permanent, help me have peace. Help me just to kind of go through this, And I just kind of, I don't know, I felt emotional the first 2 weeks, just kind of, it really bothered my mind, I guess. Like, I didn't want to question it anymore. I just wanted to have peace about it,
I think that's slightly humorous because, like, I took myself to the hospital and went home because my husband had to be with the kids.
Yeah.
And we didn't really want to, like, ask other people what, like, we didn't really want everybody else involved in case everything's, so he had the kids, so I was coming home. And you saying that they were trying to cheer you up, like, with humor. On the way home, I turned on a comedy station and we're cousins, so maybe that's just how we deal with stuff, because I'm like, I was crying or whatever, but then I was just like, you know what, I just want to laugh, so that's just kind of funny.
That's funny.
I mean, Travis, clearly we do. Like, that's how I was going through it. Like, she was all like, I don't want to laugh. And I'm like, I need to laugh.
Yeah. Well, like, my sister-in-law and my husband both were just talking about some kind of, what's that one character, as an evil character? I don't know, two-sided face or something. I don't know. Anyway, it was like one side of his face, though, the character, his face was burnt, but like you could tell it was just, two-sided, because this other side was fine. And I'm like, well, I don't want to be like that. Like, anyway, it was just one of those things. But I think in that mindset, when you're going through it, I don't know, for me, I process it, and then I'm like worried about it because, well, I worry a lot. And I just kind of start thinking in my own mind, and like I know you can't stay stuck in that mind process, because then you're just gonna go downhill from that, I feel like.
See, for me, like, initially, it's weird, but like initially I'm like, we prayed that we'd have a healthy baby, we prayed these things, and so maybe something was off. So that initial thought, I was like, okay, I was fine. But for me, it comes and goes. Like, I'll randomly get like a wave of it, and I'm just like, why do I, that's my baby. So, like, I don't know, like, and I try not to, but like naturally in those moments I'm question stuff. But then at the end of it, not the end of it, mine's ongoing. But I'm like, Brother Uzzel was preaching one time, like, sometimes you go through life and we'd be very weak people if nothing happened to us. Like, what if we were just living the greatest life ever? Everybody would be like, yeah, of course I want to be a Christian. Like, who wouldn't want that?
Who wouldn't want that? Yeah.
But I was also beginning to think, like, okay, to relate to someone, sometimes we got to go through the same thing that they go through. Right. So, like, someone may not be able to relate to you until you say, hey, I went through that too. And then that kind of helps your ministry. Yeah. Like, you and I may never be able to relate to someone that's billionaire, that's never had a single financial thoughts. Like, you and I, we're not going to relate to that. We're like, we went through something. And like, so like maybe that will help your ministry, even though like that's not how you. Does that make any sense? What I'm trying to say?
Yes, it'll help.
Like, so now people that has going through an issue can come to you now and be like, I'm going through this. This is what's happened to me health wise. How did you deal with it? What was your how was your faith? Like, how can you keep your faith through this, all this stuff,
Yeah.
So I guess it'll help your ministry. That's one way to look at the positive look of things.
Yeah, that's a good thought. I understand what you're coming from, and I usually, a lot of that, you know, Brother Ozil talked about a little bit of where I've been from, where I came from, where I've been through and whatnot the other day, and it made me think of, like, you know, if anybody could relate to any of like foster kids or anybody that comes through there that, you know, never grew up with a mom and dad, you know, I can relate to that. You know, I'm going to be friends with them. I'm going to, you know, do my best. Even if we both don't, like, aren't friends, I am going to kind of, like, you know, help her out a little bit, kind of, you know, because I'm
and you can help someone helping them.
Yeah.
Even if you're not the one, like, being part of it. If you say somebody is fostering a kid, they can, like, kind of ask you questions about certain things, because you've been through that. Yeah. Which Natalie has an amazing testimony, and we're gonna do a video in the future where she's gonna share all of it with y'all. I can't wait for that. Yeah. But so she can, you can relate to people for what you go through. Yeah. So that kind of gives you a different aspect. So I'm trying to think of positively about when things happen. Yeah. Negatively.
And another thought about, like, if us Christians didn't go through certain things, you know, I don't think there's any way that God could use us. I feel like God uses us through our trials, but he will use it to even help and reach others, just like we said, to relate to others and stuff. But I feel like, too, it can help others somehow in some way.
And know? Like, okay, so if I was born in the truth and my whole life was just absolutely perfect because nothing happens, but you weren't born in the truth for some reason, your parents didn't, and you were born, or you was raised in, like, misery or something, some people will be like, yes, I definitely want that. But some people are going to be like, well, I can't have that because that person is perfect from day one. Right. How am I going to fit there? You know, so...
Yeah,
and the Lord does say he reigns on the just and the unjust. So I mean, bad things are going to happen to good people. Good things are going to happen to bad people. It's just life. But sometimes when you're going through life, it's a little bit harder to think that.
Yeah. But anyway,
like, I mean, why
me? We'll be praying for anybody that's going through trials, you guys. But no.
I guess it gave you a different perspective on. I don't know. That week, I guess I was feeling sorry for us. I'm like, this has been a bad week for the podcasters.
You said this is a terrible week for us both. I was like, yeah, I think the devil's just trying to grab a hold of us and pause this podcast or something. Yeah. We may be reaching somebody, and he could just be like, all right, you need this. Y'all need to stop this.
Because, when things go through, and you're like, man, I don't want to do nothing. I just want to feel sorry for myself.
Yeah.
That's how I felt a few moments.
Yeah. But, you know, I even text you, though, and I'm like, you know what? I said, we're going to see our victories at the end of the tunnel because, you know, we trust God, we believe in God, and, you know, by faith and just knowing God, you know, victory is near. So, which my face is getting better. You know, one thing that I did pray for last week that's happening this week is, God, if I could just kind of start grinning, because I miss smiling. I miss laughing with my, like, just, you know, I don't have perfect teeth, but I miss kind of laughing, you know. So, and this week he's answered that prayer because I'm a little bit grinning a little bit. So,
and
I'm happy.
Your speech has really gotten really well, so we can easily do the podcast because originally it probably got better as you got used to it, but like it was almost, she had to like pause and like re-say words.
Because I was like, I don't know, like I couldn't say the words right when I was trying to say them, and I know that it wasn't saying them right either.
So she's able to.
Yeah. So anyway,
comes on.
That's what's been going on for us this past couple of weeks.
It worked out good that it happened at the same time, so it wasn't like, oh, we're off this week, then we're off that week. Yes. We all have one, so now we're.
But we also had Vacation Bible School while we were off.
Yeah. We had a lot of fun there.
That was fun.
She got to be a teacher.
I did. It was a little hard.
It was 0 to 4. So that's a big age gap, I think.
Yes,
like a 1-year-old and a 4-year-old are on vast different scales. Like Truett and a 4-year-old, a 4-year-old's going to sit there and kind of do their project. And Truett's going to stand there and mess it up.
Truett and like Camilla.
Yeah.
They're big age difference.
Yeah, they can kind of like, maybe they should do like a 3 and 4.
I know, and then the babies
1 and 2. Yeah, I mean, because even a 1-year-old and a 2-year-old, if it's at the start of your 1-year-old and the end of your 2-year-old, you're changing so much. That child's like completely different.
Yes,
and
it's kind of hard too to entertain them, like the little ones, just because like their
they like to
attention
move.
span is not as long as the older kids, and they do like to move a lot.
Because we were just doing like a little bit of I don't remember. We were just kind of waiting to go outside, so they had a little bit of free time, and we're just trying to keep them entertained. And like the bigger ones would play Duck Duck Goose, but the little ones, they wanted to run around. So we almost had it like they did well with like the If You're Happy to Know It, and you're like telling them what to do, and they're constantly moving. They're better with that. Where the bigger ones could play certain games, but the little ones just kept getting up and running around. So
but all in all, it turned out great. It was my kids had fun. They loved it. The week after that, my oldest one, Camilla, she was like, is it time to go back to the Vacation Bible School? I was like, no. I was like, no, that's over.
We're still listening to the song.
Yes. Oh my goodness, the song is on repeat.
The cow goes to school song. Don't know what the connection is. I don't either. It was farm animals.
Yeah, it was like a farm theme.
So I don't know if she's seen a cow there.
So it was funny. It was fun. I think everybody had fun, but I'm pretty sure that song is being popular.
Stuck in my head.
So
not happy with Chris.
She did this as last year where she got a song and it was on repeat at my house for.
Thankfully, I didn't even I never got the song. Mm-hmm. So I never played it after that. So it moved on. But this year that song I was like. Because I literally, as soon as it goes off, my daughter's like, play it again. So just like a loop.
That's how mine is too.
Okay, so on a lighter note, we're going to change the topic, kind of get us happier before we leave.
Yeah.
This is also spoilers, so if you have not listened to this one's the first one, episode of the new Odyssey album, go listen to that before you listen to our discussion about it. So, this past one, if you listen to it, Penny and Wooten's in it. It was nice. Did you like it?
I did. I kind of liked it. My husband really liked it. I don't know why. I didn't think he would, just because Penny kind of was a little whiny, kind of like, I guess you could say. Yeah, I was gonna say, and he does not like the one episodes of like Wooten and Penny getting engaged and stuff, because through that whole episodes where they're like kind of engaged, or at the end he asked
just like questioning everything.
He was just like, she's just whiny. I was like, oh my goodness, it's just the Odyssey.
Well, I think usually they're really, really funny, like whatever they're doing.
So too.
But this time I didn't think it was like as funny.
No,
like it was like a lesson, but it wasn't as funny.
Yeah,
so it was.
I liked it. It wasn't my favorite.
Yeah, I liked it. It wasn't my favorite. So it starts off Dr. Trash. So if you might have to go all the way back and listen to the Green Ring. Wait, not the Green Ring Conspiracy.
It's the Green Ring.
Yeah, you're right. You have to go all the way back and listen to the Green Ring Conspiracy, which is one of my favorites.
Yes.
Listen to that whole album, and then you got to listen to this. If you're new to Odyssey, you're going to have to go back to the very beginning to put it all together.
Yep. And now, if you didn't know, the new album is out already. I know I talked to a couple of friends at church that we was talking about Odyssey, and they were like, oh, there's a new album? Yes, there is a new album started out. And
13th, and it's going to be every Thursday.
So y'all make sure to go and check it out, and we'll kind of talk about it a little bit here and there. But
we're always going to be like a week behind, so whatever you just listened to, that's not the one we're talking about. We're talking about the one you listened to the week prior.
Yeah. But on the other, the very exciting news, I heard on their Family on the Focus podcast, which I follow, and I like listen to it. My husband listened to it, so I wanted to listen to it, so I listened to it. And it was good.
Is this on the Odyssey app?
So it is on the app.
Okay, their official podcast.
Okay. I have the app, or I have their podcast too on the iTunes.
Is it called Odyssey on that one?
Yeah, it's called Family on the Focus or something like that.
Focus on the Family?
Focus on the Family.
Well, see, Focus on the Family has one that's just like, they have speakers. Is it the same one? Okay, I'll have to go listen to it. I listen to that all the time, but it's not. It's periodically I listen to.
Oh, okay.
Stuff.
Well, yeah, that one was on there when I listened to it, and I didn't know where to find the one that my husband listened to it on the app. So you'll have to kind of search out your app thing. So, but on there they talk about big news that Eugene Meltzner will be in this one, and I'm not going to say who's playing it, but there will be like like computer work to get his voice kind of like Eugene.
Okay, so they're gonna come back like all the time, and they're just using IT to get his voice.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So
that's kind of cool and scary.
I know, right?
But they do have like 20 plus years of audio.
Yeah.
To go from. So I guess that would be because I know that they've done that in the past with like they said Tom Riley on that last episode that they had Tom Riley on. They used things that he had said in the past to kind of twerk it, and so that he could be on that last one.
Oh, okay.
It's I think it's the one about the inspector coming or something.
Oh, okay.
Because
I didn't know that.
What's his name's in there too? Bart Rathbone, but his voice sounds weird.
His voice changed, which I think they
quit
different.
I think they kind of stopped after that. Like that one, I don't think people really liked it because Tom played both people, or the actor that played Tom also played
Bernard,
not Bernard. Bart.
Okay.
So they've done it before, but I guess they'll go do it like more officially.
Yeah, probably.
Because he's such a big
character.
Which,
on their podcast, it was talking about that Will Ryan that played Eugene. He did pass away, but he was talking about how they were going to continue Eugene and stuff. He said he wouldn't mind to continue it, because some of them, I guess, I don't know, they request, or some of them feel like they don't want to, or the widow don't want to.
Yeah. So that's kind of cool that he knew
before he passed. Yeah, he said he really wanted it to continue, so they were trying to find a way on how to do that and all that. So, and apparently his wife is okay with it. She's very excited to hear how it all turned out. But at the very end of that podcast, they talk about that there'll be somebody else that we don't know that's been gone for a while.
That's coming back
using the same technology.
Christy told me about this before. Is it Joanne? Did they tell who it was?
No, they didn't.
She thought it was Joanne Woodson.
I think it is Jack Allen.
Well, she thought it was
he did not die.
No, they left to travel.
Yeah, so I was thinking maybe like, it might be Jack and they both come in.
Yeah, well, Kirsty said like something where she read that the people were coming back was like, this was years ago that she read it. Not years, but like maybe last year or something. That Joanne Woodson was coming back and Mitch or something.
Okay, wow.
So we'll see.
We'll see. You guys have to stay tuned with us too. You guys just stay tuned and follow along. We'll kind of discuss it a little bit.
Yeah, we do love Odyssey. So
we love Odyssey, and there's been a lot of people that we know personally that is following along like on Odyssey to kind of stay tuned with the new ones that comes up.
So we will be back next week for a new podcast. Our upcoming episode, we're going to be doing advice to our younger self. If you have any advice that you want to give to your younger self, you can leave it in the comments below,
or message us on Instagram or
text us. I know a lot of people listen. Know us personally, so if you know us personally and you don't want to comment for everybody to read, you can text us. We're completely fine with that. We actually really like that a lot.
And we do have a couple of them that have messaged us about it, and I'm very excited because like we said before, we get excited when you guys actually interact and stuff. It's so much fun for us. But yeah, you guys just leave a comment and
any advice you would give to your younger self. We're going to do a whole episode on our advice to our younger selves or to young people, and maybe just a good advice in general.
Yeah.
Maybe because actually because we'd asked that question and a few people had answered, and I'm like, I guess that still applies to me now. That's that's what advice. Actually, I think it was a lady. She was a little bit older. And she was giving advice down, and I'm like, that still works. It's just our life advice, I guess. But definitely for our younger self.
So, you guys make sure you like, subscribe, stay tuned. Go follow along on our Instagram too if you're not already following along. And we'll see you next time. Bye. Bye.